In PyCharm, I created a bankroll sim for blackjack and card counting. The rules are right here. Whenever the dealer has any 17, they have to stay. Blackjack pays 3-2, 6 decks per shoe. Only 2 decks around are left before shuffle. The player plays basic perfect strategy, blah, blah, blah. So all you do is you put in how much money you have in your bankroll. How much money do you want to profit by? What is the minimum true count that you're willing to play? What is your minimum bet at negative true counts? And then at true count 1, how much are you betting? 2, 3, etc., etc. And then every simulation is either the player losing all of its bankroll or the player profiting by 100. So for this, we'll put in 10 simulations. So according to this bet spread and that bankroll, you will lose 60% of the time and win 40% of the time. So what this shows you is that your risk of ruin is about 60%. Obviously, if you only have $100 and you're betting this much, you're likely to lose a bunch of money. Obviously, when you're only running 10 simulations, it's not going to give you the most accurate data. So what you would have to do is you'd want to increase this number to 100, 1,000, 2,000, etc. Now, right here it says the recommended max is 200, but that's just because the more simulations you do, the longer it'll take, just so you can get a better idea of just how long this sort of thing can take depending on how large your numbers are. Let's say you put in 1,000, you want to profit by 1,000. Minimum true count that you're willing to play is -2. Minimum bet 1, and then let's say your bet spread is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and let's say you were going to run 200 simulations. This will take a while because it has to go through many, many different hands of blackjack. So let's say you get an ace and a 10, then you win that. That's not the end of the simulation. The end of the simulation is when you actually profit or when you lose all your money. So it can take a while. If you made this 1,000, you could just imagine, based off how long it took for that, how much longer it would take. So it seems with 200 simulations, you have about a 35% chance risk of ruin, but winning per hour is $22 an hour. So this can decide how much risk you want. You can put in different numbers. Unfortunately, you can't put in how much risk you want. So that is, again, another limitation with this code. But hopefully, if you want to see, all right, if I'm going to bet this much, my max bet's going to be 100, and then at your different true counts, you decide how you increase that. This should be able to give you an accurate portrayal. And if anyone wants to look through the code, they understand basic strategy card counting. If you want to look through it, see if I made any mistakes, that'd be great. I did spend a lot of time debugging it and making sure there were no mistakes, so there shouldn't be. But if you want to improve upon it or make sure there's no flaws, let me know. Now, I programmed this based off of this Blackjack basic strategy chart by BlackjackApprenticeship.com. I think that's their website. And I just painstakingly went into PyCharm, and for how to play, once you get your cards, just a bunch of checking, and then it tells you when to hit, when to double. I will provide all this code in Github, and I think I'll even compile it into an exe, but if you want, you can just have the code. But yeah, I spent a lot of time on this. It took maybe about a week of like 8 hours a day on average. But if you want to help me increase my bankroll, I'd really appreciate it if you donate. The reason why I made this was because I noticed that a lot of software to get this sort of information, like at blackjackapprenticeship.com, it was behind a pretty hefty paywall. And so I wanted to make something that I could use and that would potentially help other new card counters. So links for that will be down below. But I'd love to know how useful this is for you. There is limited functionality, so like you can't change the rules of like if the dealer would hit an ace-6. There's no insurance programmed into this. According to basic strategy, you never use insurance anyway, except when the true count is, I think, +3. But yeah, there's also no playing deviations, and I know that when you use playing deviations based off the true count, that can increase your EV. So yeah, I think that if people want it, if I get donations and people really seem to like it, I think I will add to it. I don't think I'll ever put it behind a paywall. If I ever do, maybe like $5 or $10, because I just don't think that stuff like this should be behind a paywall, because I think that the information is really important for people to take the money back from the casinos. But yeah, I hope this helps you guys out, and let me know what you guys think.